Hi everyone. So I wanted to get on today and talk about another product that I've done a little bit of digging on. So what I found is pretty fascinating and I just wanted to share. So like I said last time, I'm trying to kind of research more on the products that I already take to have a better understanding of how they're working in my body and what ingredients are making up those products that are making a difference. So today's product that I want to talk about is MetaBurn. Okay, it's all kind of in the title of what it does, right? So MetaBurn, it's a metabolism booster and it burns fat. And it's kind of a funny story how I even started doing this because I'm not an overweight person. Fat burning really isn't one of my target goals or anything with the PLEXUS products, but a friend of mine that was using it said, oh, don't use the MetaBurn, don't use the MetaBurn. And he actually brought me a few and I just felt better after taking them. So yeah, and then another friend did the same thing. Don't you use the MetaBurn? I'm like, no, they're shaming me. I gotta try this. So anyway, I do use the MetaBurn and I'm very happy with it. And I'm gonna explain why I feel better when I use it. And here are the ingredients, okay? So first of all, when you look at the label, and it lists all the ingredients here, but it says in the small print, proprietary blend. So what I want you to understand first of all, it means it's like a secret recipe. Okay, it tells you what's in there, but it's not gonna give you all the amounts and all that type of stuff. So proprietary blend isn't anything unusual that you'll find in things, okay? So generally speaking, the ingredients at the top of the list are making up the most of the compound. And then it lists it as one capsule has 550 milligrams somewhere in this blend. That's what makes it up, okay? But it does tell us that it's got 80 milligrams of caffeine in one capsule, so that we do know, okay? So when I kind of broke down these ingredients, they kind of fall into two categories. So you've got your category where it is actually about metabolism and fat burning, so a thermogenic in a sense, right? And then the other category really has to do more with stress management and decreasing cortisol levels in the body, and why those two groups come together in such a way that it makes this product make sense and it just works, okay? So we're gonna kind of divide those ingredients up into the two categories. But when I say fat burning, because that's what we're gonna go over first, let's talk about fat, okay? So we all know what that word means generally speaking, but there are actually 4 different types of fat in our bodies. And they are a storehouse of excess calories, okay, that our body can go to later to expedite those calories and use them in our body for fuel when it needs to, okay? So brown fat, that actually burns calories when it's stimulated by burning up our white fat, which is the second fat, okay? And then there is also subcutaneous fat. So that's the fat you see right under your skin. And that is the fat that they use as a measurement when they're actually doing body fat measurements. And then there's visceral fat. So this you think of as your fat around your organs, not a good thing. You know, a fatty heart, a fatty liver, you hear of these things, a cause of coronary issues, diabetes issues, you know, the stubborn, what they call stubborn belly fat, that hard fat, visceral fat, so that we don't want that, okay? So what this product does, by burning that fat, it actually can help burn those visceral fat stores and increase the activity of the brown fat, which we think of as our good fat, so that's pretty exciting, okay? So let's get into the first. We're going to talk about what are the fat burning ingredients first. So caffeine, like I said, each capsule has 80 milligrams of caffeine. It is naturally sourced. So it's from the green tea extract and then guarana. I don't ever say that right, so take my word for it, guarana. And they are, again, natural sources of caffeine. Caffeine actually does boost fat metabolism. So it influences our metabolism. And it's most notably through stimulating hormones in our body that are produced in our adrenal glands is how that works, okay? Second thing, coleus for scoli. This is an ingredient I had never heard of. So what this does, it releases fatty acids that are then used as fuel. And it does that by increasing an enzyme in our body called a hormone-sensitive lipase. And then that burns fat. So there was actually a study done too where they had shown that this may, you know, when people lose weight, but then they tend to gain it back, having this ingredient present helped people not regain all those pounds back. So even if that's all it does, that's pretty big, because that's a big problem for most folks. When they do start shedding the pounds, they have the tendency to put it back on, right? Okay, next thing, grains of paradise. Now this is a fascinating one. Yeah, really cool. Okay, so it has anti-inflammatory properties. It is a thermogenic. Again, we talked about that. So fat burning, fat losing, and it increases our calorie burn. It activates our brown fat, activates it to get rid of the white fat. And they did this in a clinical study, like by a third-party group, has nothing to do with the makers of this product. So that's pretty cool, right? So, and it also decreases that visceral fat, the worst type of fat that leads to disease. So yeah, around our internal organs, and again, we call that our hard fat. So this grains of paradise in and of itself is a pretty remarkable ingredient. Okay, the last thing on our fat burning list is N-acetyl L-tyrosine. We've talked about this one before. Tyrosine being the amino acid that is present that we're wanting to access, right? So this tyrosine is actually necessary in the production of T3 and T4 production in our cells. So every cell in our body has a thyroid receptor, T3, T4. That's pretty crazy when you think about it, right? Every cell is affected by this hormone. And what the tyrosine does, it helps make the T3 in our body. And how many people do you know that struggle with thyroid issues? I won't even get into it. I'm a pharmacist and we dispense a lot of thyroid medicine. I'll just tell you right now, I think we have every strength available of the synthetic thyroid in our robot to dispense, other than maybe 3 strengths. It's that common. So yeah, this could actually change a picture of your thyroid picture. So that's pretty exciting too, right? So mental clarity, that's another thing that the tyrosine does. It's converted to neurotransmitters are in our body, the dopamine, the serotonin, the norepinephrine, and the epinephrine. Okay, so this tyrosine kind of like floats the boat in both categories. So it has to do with the fat burning because of the thyroid hormone development and production, but it also has to do with the next category that we're talking about, and that is the stress management in our hormone levels, because it does both of those things by decreasing the cortisol. Okay, so the 5th ingredient is called rhodiola. Rhodiola is an adaptogen. So this was a new word for me. So I'm going to read you what the actual definition of an adaptogen is, okay? So it says it's most often a plant extract that is held to increase the body's ability to resist the damaging effects of stress and promote or restore normal physiological functioning. Okay, so pretty general term, but resisting damaging effects of stress, yeah, I'm all over that, right? Okay, so it's an antioxidant in nature, and it decreases the stresses in our body. It enhances the body's ability to burn fat by decreasing cortisol levels. And you can hardly turn on the TV anymore without seeing some commercial, right, about stubborn belly fat and cortisol. It's a thing, it's a real thing. And this is a real thing that helps with that, this adaptogen, by burning that belly fat, okay? Next ingredient, 5-HTP, 5-hydroxytryptophan. We've talked about that one before too. So that's a precursor to serotonin, which is a mood receptor in our bodies that's there naturally. And again, this is a source of depression. If you don't have enough serotonin on board, your mood deflates. So this keeps our mood high, and that's what we want, okay? It's also been shown to help control the appetite when you have proper levels of serotonin in your system, okay? The last ingredient is called L-theanine, and that again we've talked about before. It's an amino acid. And that is responsible for alertness and just a healthy, what they call a healthy mood, or not a scattered type of thing where you have clarity and focus, okay? So those are our ingredients kind of divided into 2 lists. Now, another thing that was kind of interesting to me, there's a product in there called estrogen. And estrogen is an ingredient that just increases the absorption of all the other stuff in there, specifically the amino acids in there. So that's pretty cool. They want to be sure that these ingredients that they're putting in there are actually being absorbed. Like we've talked about before, Plexus just does it right? Okay, so again, because it's burning fat, it does not necessarily mean when you step on the scale, you're gonna see that number move. This is a product that if you're after it for the fat burning, rather than, you know, the cortisol component of it and the hormonal component of it, you may want to take some body measurements, some before and after, to see what's actually happening, because the number on the scale may not move for a while, okay? But you're going to see your clothes fitting better. You're going to notice things like that in measurements, okay? It is safe to use long term. That is not an issue. So how do we take it? All right, so 1 in the morning, and then you can repeat that dose. So 2 would be the total daily dose. Keep in mind that caffeine level, okay, 80 milligrams of caffeine per capsule. So if you're needing 2 a day, that's fine. But like we've said before, 400 milligrams of caffeine per day is your limit, your safe limit. So you want to be mindful of that. I personally take 1 a day. I have tried to, and I'm just too sensitive to the caffeine, because I like a lot of coffee in the morning too. I won't be shy about that. So I don't want to go over my limit. I'd rather have another cup of coffee. So I'm good with that. I know people that take it 2 a day and it's not an issue. Those that can have like a Mountain Dew, who also shouldn't be having a Mountain Dew. But if you're having caffeine later in the day, this is probably not gonna affect you, okay? So that is what I wanted to visit about today, the product called MetaBurn. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below, let me know, or talk to whoever sent you this video, and we will get on board and get those answered for you and point you in the right direction. All right, have a great day.